Dice Company contains fantasy violence, mature themes, and unapologetic bickering. No feelings were hurt in the making of it, but listener discretion is advised. Dice Company will always be free, but it's not free to make. Please consider supporting us on Patreon or Apple Podcasts and get access to our weekly roundtable show Extra Roll. Just follow any of the links in the show notes for this chapter.
Welcome one and all to Dice Company, where a group of old friends weave tales of triumph, heroism and despair under the guise of playing Dungeons and Dragons. My name is Tom, and I'll be your DM through the continuing adventures of these magnificent manticore manglers. Magnificent manticore manglers, please introduce yourselves and tell the audience one fun fact about your characters.
Hi, I'm Harry, and I play Tock, a 6'8" imposing automaton. My fact, this is an elven lament that Tock learnt 2 winters ago in Lanasil by a person named Aurora. I remember stories of a glorious civilization of cities with spires that reached the sun, of green forests and vast seas, of people with myths of Elestari everlasting, of children who saw in the embers of dying trees the destiny of their race, and they gazed into the abyss of fate with no fear. They say our people have no present, only a past filled with horror, and a future they can only dream of.
Well, hang on a second. So that was amazing as usual, but you learned it 2 summers ago, I think you said, from someone called Aurora.
Indeed.
Now, Augustus, I guess, can't question Tock in the facts section of the podcast. Is this meant to be a reference to Aurora, Augustus' sister?
Well, I can't tell you that. So obviously, Tock has no idea who your sister is.
Fascinating. Okay, so we do know these facts. I pocket that fact and later jump out at Tock in the middle of the night. Eyes bloodshot, veins standing out from my neck in a frantic Aurora-related panic.
Did anyone else think just for a second there that Harry was going to do it in Elven?
There's always that danger.
He does speak Elvish, Tock, but I don't. So, yeah.
Elvish?
Actually, I bet you there's some kind of like Google Translate thing for Elvish.
Oh, yeah.
And it wouldn't be past you to try and one-up Tolkien.
You've always had it in for Tolkien.
Hello, I am Dave and I play Bennie Quez. My fact today is a little more about Bennie's upbringing. He was born and raised in an orphanage. The kind of orphanage system within Alphon is in some way emblematic of how the Empire does things to an extent. So the orphanages, there's a network of orphanages that are sort of state-sanctioned. The orphanage is paid for every child that they take in, and essentially they form a free labour force for menial tasks that support the Empire's goals. So kind of like manufacturing, and the orphanage network are paid at a very low rate for the output that the orphans manage to deliver. And it also helps to create a compliant adult workforce with no expectations or ambitions once they've kind of graduated from within the system. But of course, Bennie wasn't really up for the no expectations or ambitions, and they weren't quite able to beat that spark out of him in the same way they did many of the children that went through the system.
Is that like a very similar place that we found the Stormlord in then? Or was that particularly brutal?
I think the place where we found the Stormlord was maybe a particularly brutal example, but I guess they're almost like cousins in terms of their relationship.
So where's Bennie on his tithe repayments?
Oh, Bennie has a fake tithe document saying he's paid it all off, which he had forged.
Ah, wonderful.
You know, when there's like a reciprocal relationship, state and orphanage network. So the people who run them are making a decent amount of money, and the Empire are getting very cheap labour, and the children are getting absolutely nothing.
I know the word. Evil.
That's the one.
Is Bennie's fake tithe document in the name of McLovin?
Yes.
Yes.
Naturally it is. Of course it is.
We make that canon, please, Dom.
Go.
So hi, I'm Charlie. I play Vander Finnick. And today, given the theme that we're currently on, being deeply sad, I thought I'd continue it. So Vander, as will surprise absolutely no one, has many nemeses. But it's time we named one. Where Vander was tortured, his terrible suffering was administrated by a particular person. That person has already come up once in the telling of this tale, and their name is Joseph.
How many nemeses does Vander have?
Difficult to say. Definitely more than the normal person has.
Well, it's the first time I've heard the plural for nemesis. So
it feels like a word that can't really have a plural because it sort of implies a
ultimate enemy.
yeah, exactly. A top foe.
I am your nemesis. You're like, get in line.
Or one of the nemesis.
And nothing worse than being someone's nemesis, only to find out that you're actually a minor villain in context to the other nemesis they have.
Yeah, that does sound weirdly depressing. Yeah,
Sorry.
But this is all I wanted. Yep.
I've devoted my entire life to ruining yours. You call this a marriage? Hi, I'm Alex, and I'm playing Augustus. And last week, Bennie challenged Augustus, saying Augustus wanted to make himself king of a gigantic kingdom. Augustus brushed this off, but since then he started to worry. What if he does want to be king? What would that say about him, about his actions, and about his oath? The idea of breaking the oath fills him with dread, but the vision of a vacant throne now lingers in the corners of his mind.
Ooh. That is a brilliant fact.
Well, when you're under the jackboot of King Augustus, you may regret these words.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm hearing is that I was right.
Yeah, I mean,
Does seem like that.
Is that what you always hear?
do we get to know where Augustus stands on that? Like how close he is to I want to be king compared to fulfill the oath?
Someone has suggested something. He thought he had pure intentions, but someone has challenged his intentions, and he's kind of like, oh, maybe I don't know. Maybe I do. Maybe my heart isn't as pure as I thought it was. I don't think he's suddenly got a maniacal desire to be king, but he's got having had the idea presented to him, he's somewhat disconcerted to find that he doesn't entirely dismiss or hate it.
I think that is the backstory to how maniacal desires begin.
I'll send over the link to the Oath of Conquest then, shall I?
Or Oathbreaker.
Curiously, I already have that tattooed on my chest.
As a wise man said, there are always two explanations for any action: the honourable and good reason, and the real reason. To the gates of the city of the dead we go, in the next chapter of Dice Company. Trapped in a cavern which houses the Dwarven city of the dead, you have made your way on a stagecoach on rails to the gates of the central city. There you found the manticore you'd spotted at the entrance and slayed it, revealing its now parentless child, which was quickly swallowed, along with Bellerothon, by an Umber Hulk. Its chitinous form now standing before you, its four eyes twisting and rotating in a mesmerizing manner. Roll initiative.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
I was thinking we might get to decide whether or not we run away, but apparently not.
You can run away on your turn, that's not a problem.
I choose to run away. On my turn, anyway. 22 for Tock.
17 for Vander.
11 for Bennie.
5 for Augustus. Always last on initiative.
Top of the round with Tock.
This is one time where I really didn't want to be first. It's too far away to attack, isn't it, in one turn? Okay, right. Tock is going to, again, take out several pebbles from a pouch and coat them in a oil from a small vial. Pass one to Tick, and he himself is going to take one, and he's going to just sort of hold it on his palm and give it a little flick with the finger, and then it's going to shoot across towards the Umber Hulk as if it had been thrown by a star pitcher.
Fantastic. Please roll to hit.
Your biscuit pebble again.
Tock gets a 9, which I assume is probably not going to hit.
Nope.
But Tick is much better with these things, and he gets a 23.
Is a hit. Please roll for damage.
8 damage.
Tell you the story? No?
The two automatons take out the wonderful pebbles once again. Both flick them like they're playing tiddlywinks. Both actually hit the creature, but Tock bounces off, doing no damage. But Tick finds a way through the thick hide of the creature, causing some damage.
They will also move to stand at the front to protect the rest of the party, drawing swords.
The creature's turn, the Umber Hulk. It looks a little bit confused and annoyed that it's been targeted, and it immediately dives into the ground, disappearing from view.
Fine, lads, it's gone.
I mean, there's a strong case for kicking off immediately, isn't there?
Yeah.
I mean, we're essentially in the plotline of Tremors now, aren't we?
How do they win that in the end? Get on boulders, throw dynamite. Anyone got any dynamite?
Well, we do have some dynamite, but I'm not sure that this is going to end up as the storyline of Tremors.
People survive that.
That's the problem with our interpretation.
Vander.
Okay, Vander is genuinely upset that Bellerophon has been swallowed. He takes a step forward, and even though the beast has disappeared, he says in a dangerous tone under his breath, "You're going to pay for that." And he closes his fist suddenly. I cast Dragon's Breath.
So Bellerophon from inside the gut of the Umber Hulk is going to breathe a dragon-like flame out of the creature effectively while it's underground, no less.
That is it. And obviously in this case, I choose that to be acid.
I like it. It's, from memory, that is dexterity saving throw to avoid full damage.
That is technically correct, though you'd have to be very dexterous to avoid something that's inside you.
Tough for me to argue that a dexterity saving throw would work if it's coming from inside. So please roll for damage.
So that's 3d6. Oh, a total of 9.
Vander, you squeeze your hand, and Tock, 10 feet in front of you, you see a sudden mound of dirt kind of just go up into the air as green acid begins to kind of spill out from a little gap that's created there.
This is so Tremors. I take it back. We are in the plotline of Tremors. So I'm going to move. The collapsed machinery is what I was going to go for because it's very close.
Vander moves to the north and clambers up onto a collapsed building, getting him away from the ground.
Quick check on my force powers. Benny, did you feel anything? Even a slight tremor, an urge to jump onto that piece of rock?
I mean, I have got an urge to jump onto that piece of rock, but I don't know if it's related to anything you've done.
Oh, I think it is.
As Vander bravely runs away, does he shout something like, "Let me know how you get on, lads"?
No, he does not. He's just lost Bellerophon. He's in mourning.
Benny.
I think taking Vander's prompt, I'm going to move to higher ground.
Very Sir Robin.
I'm going to say, what's the plan, everyone? Should we get out of here?
I think we should move towards the coach, trying to spend as little time on the ground as possible.
I would find this to be acceptable.
Yep, I'm on board.
Is this like American politics where I can then ask for some of Harry's time to say something further? I don't have anything, but...
Is that
Absolutely
American
not.
politics? Because that seems like...
A never-ending filibuster that is Vander Finnick.
I am then going to use my dash action to get over to Vander here.
I would say you get a playful link from Bellerophon, but you don't!
Benny sprints to the east and joins Vander on the collapsed building.
The stagecoach is to the east, isn't it?
Yeah, if you can get to the edge of the map, you can get to the stagecoach.
Note the if.
Get to the chopper. Yeah.
Augustus.
Augustus is going to head to the east, I guess. There's not really anything else to do. I'm not in range of anything I can get on top of, and I don't think I can help Tick and Tock by staying behind, so...
Brave, Sir Augustus.
There's no enemy to run away from. There's no enemy here, apart from the one that's about to leap up out of the ground and eat Benny and Vander in one bite.
Well, I think they have run to safety a little bit more than...
What I like is that Tock and Tick move forward and everyone else sprints back.
Yes. Didn't go unnoticed there. Didn't go unnoticed.
What a team.
We can't go forward. There's no forward or back.
I mean, we know that there was a large, rumbling underground there, so...
Back to the top of the round with Tock and Tick.
I would argue that what's happened here is a direct divide between those who have and haven't seen Tremors.
I mean, I can't just stand out here in the middle of nowhere. Okay, Tock's going to sprint back. As we're retreating, we got to do it properly.
The two automatons, realizing that the rest of the party are heading east, turn tail and at pretty high speed begin to make their way back towards the stagecoach. And now, the creature.
So how far away is the stagecoach from us at the edge of the map? Can we be ready to leap onto it?
If you can get one square off of the map, you can get onto it.
Why did I walk forwards? Okay, Tock is literally ready to leap onto that stagecoach, assuming that Vander is going to get the horses ready.
From beneath the ground, you see the Umber Hulk burst up. Acid kind of pouring out of his long mandibles, and he looks in terrible shape. There's even a hole in his stomach where more acid is pouring out. And he sees everyone sprinting east and begins to give chase. his lolloping body moving at high speed as he dashes towards Tock and Tick.
He is right on your heels.
Vander.
Wish me luck, guys. Vander clambers down from his point on the rocks, moves in the wrong direction, so out into the open, and turning to the creature says,
Over here!
and then taps his cane on the ground. I want to hold an action.
At what point will you do the action?
Assuming that I have got the creature's attention and it moves into range to hurt me, that's when I want to use the action.
Bennie.
Benny looks absolutely baffled by this madness, but now feels like running away is no longer an option. So clambers a little bit higher up this building and takes a shot.
Gets a red flare out and runs into the toilets.
Knocks an arrow and takes a shot. Take the shot.
12.
Is a miss. Even with the higher ground, the shot flies under the arm of the rampaging Umber Hulk.
It's about the size of a barn door, right?
I'm not sure if I was being chased by an Umber Hulk and my team decided to actually help me, I'd be throwing shade at them for missing.
Yeah, I don't know what our plan is anymore.
That's a smart tactical move because it makes me look empathetic and caring, but has not drawn the Umber Hulk's attention, so it's still going to
Put you in danger. Yeah.
And actually moved you further away from the danger. It's a genius move.
You're far away, and now it knows you can't shoot.
Yeah.
Can I hide up here?
Yeah, I would say, there's kind of crumbling architecture. You can easily hide.
I'll have a little hide.
The rest of you, Bennie just disappear from view.
Save yourselves.
Got a holiday somewhere?
Augustus.
Now, with the Umber Hulk going towards Tock and Tick, can I gain any advantage from going behind it? Because it's not engaged, I can't do that.
No, unfortunately not.
But if you engaged it on the other side, then Tock and Tick would get advantage if we chose to attack it rather than run away.
Here we go.
I'm just enjoying Charlie's expressions.
Peanut gallery. Yep, roll to hit.
Oh, fuck. I roll an 8. A natural 3.
You completely miss the Umber Hulk.
Almost overbalance.
Explain what's happening, please, Augustus.
I have bravely skirted round behind the creature, but I was unaware of its armor-plated butt. So when I swung the mighty flaming rapier, which is not currently lit up due to technical issues, it didn't do any damage.
What is it, a McDonald's milkshake machine? I just want to jump in here as the DM and just say this is now my favourite combat of all time. This is the most D&D combat you guys have ever been involved with, and I love it. Top of the round with Tock.
Tock, mid-retreat back to the coach, suddenly realised the team has, for some reason, randomly decided to engage the creature rather than the plan we all agreed on. Tock and Tick will turn by the side of the building the other characters are cowering behind, and will re-engage to try and help Augustus whilst biting back a description of the metallurgical disaster that would be setting a rapier blade on fire. With their swords, they are going to both attack the Umber Hulk.
Tock, can I have a DC 15 charisma saving throw, if you please?
Famously charismatic automatons.
Yeah, I was going to say, what are we going for here? I think they're very definitely going to use my inspiration on this.
We're in so much trouble.
It's all your fault.
Yeah, Tock is gonna really dig deep to help his friend Augustus, who clearly is completely outmatched by this thing.
We'll see about that.
Yeah. Okay, so Tock rolls a natural 20, which gives me a result of 19.
Is a success. So you may continue with your turn.
Oh yeah, attacking at advantage thanks to Augustus.
Finally, someone weighs in and thanks Augustus.
Well, you can't fault his courage, can you? Charging at a giant gorilla insect.
Exactly, this is how you win a throne.
Tock gets a 22 to hit.
Is a hit. He's rolled for damage.
That is a 9 damage from Tock. Tick, however, is a little bit confused in his attacking, and he rolls only a 14.
Which it does not hit. Tock draws his sword and is able to target the hole created by Belerathon's dragon breath and just stabs it right in there. And you see the creature kind of move in a really unnatural way, obviously suffering from the pain of the attack. And now the Umber Hulk's turn.
Why do it? I feel it's going to attack me.
Well, I mean, you're the only one to have hit it, so...
Cursed by competence. In the game as in life.
So we're going to start with a claw attack.
Tick is going to use his protection reaction to defend with the shield and force disadvantage on this attack.
14.
Bounces off the shield.
Plus 8.
Oh, well, I mean, that might be different.
It goes straight through the shield like butter.
22.
22. Okay, so as Tick moves to protect Tock with his shield, the said shield will glow golden light that extends about twice as far as the normal shield does, thus preventing the claws from making it to Tock.
Second claw attack. 17.
Nope, bounces off.
And now the mandible attack. 18.
It bounces off as well.
Oh! So the mandible, having targeted Tock, launches a barrage of attacks, 2 with its claws and 1 with its foot-long mandibles. But the combination of Tick's defensive prowess and Tock's magically doubled shield prevent any damage from occurring. Very nicely done. Vander.
Oh, man.
What, suddenly you're thinking it's plan run away again, are you?
I was always thinking it was plan run away. That's why I distracted him so you could get away.
Right, no talking from the peanut gallery, please. Vander.
I'm going, and God knows, changing plans rapidly. Vander is going to say,
Disengage, you fools!
and as he does that, if you imagine this, the scene from Jurassic Park where they try and get the Tyrannosaur to follow them with the flares, Vander is going to continue that and hold my action in the hopes that I can gain its attention.
Okay, and the action will be held until what time?
Until the creature goes for me.
Bennie.
Benny is now even more baffled by what Vander is up to, but he has heard him shout, disengage. So, Benny shouts, everyone, mark location of coach, and casts fog on a location centering on the creature. And with that, I'm legging it. Stagecoach.
To the stagecoach. Okay.
Harry's expression says that hasn't helped. But I did tell everyone to make sure they know where the stagecoach is before I did that.
Bennie shouts his words of warning, and the rest of you see this thick, soupy mist and fog suddenly appear, billowing out from the point where the Umber Hulk is. Mentally, you all take note of which direction the stagecoach is.
My hope is that the creature doesn't know where we've gone. Oh, but then when we start rolling...
Back underground and follows us. Yeah.
Luckily, though, there's a distraction.
Oh God, why can't we do teamwork?
You'll note that I announced what I wanted the other people to do.
Augustus, you are now completely blinded by this thick fog that's in front of you. But you do know, in your mind, the rough direction of the stagecoach.
Now, this is where my lack of D&D knowledge is going to let me down, but it feels like what everyone's saying is we can't beat this thing in a fight.
The others aren't allowed to comment because it's your turn, so you can only react to the actions that they are doing.
Well, that is what I have interpreted them as doing, because no one seems to like my heroic attempt to defend them.
I loved it.
I mean, I complimented you, but, you know.
Silence from the peanut gallery.
I guess I should try and run over to where Bennie is. I'm going to go, like, this way, and then down to here, basically. Okay, do I want to go, like, Bennie appears to have gone actually, like, half off the map. Do I want to do that?
That would get you to the stagecoach.
Okay, and then that's, like, battle over, you're out.
Yeah.
Hang on, let me just see if I've got a spell I can help the others with before I make them do it. That's fine. I'm not going to leave the guys high and dry, so I will bless the remaining 3 fighters, because that's something I can do to help them if they have to fight or throw saves and things. I will stay just in picture and hope that doesn't mean I'm the last fucking guy here.
So Augustus summons the god Tyr and blesses those remaining on the battlefield. The rest of you feel the kind of sense of warmth and protection from the god of courage. Back to the top of the round with Tock and Tyr.
So are you saying that one of the party has told me to run away again, and the other one has just imbued me with courage?
I'm saying that you have been blessed by the god of courage, not necessarily imbued with courage.
With courage, okay.
You've not been blessed with clarity, though.
Yeah, no, I've certainly not been blessed with clarity. Oh, for fuck's sake, what do we do?
To give you an idea of what you're looking at the moment, you're looking at fog.
It's like a mare.
The Umber Hulk is right in front of me. Presumably, I can see at least the vague outline of it, or is
you
it?
can see shapes moving in the fog. Like you would attack at disadvantage if you attacked it.
Okay, in which case, I think discretion is the better part of valor here. I'm going to follow Benny's advice. Tock and Tick are going to disengage in good order and retreat, walking backwards towards the stagecoach with the swords out so that they're ready for an attack.
Nice. Bennie and Augustus, you see Tock and Tick just basically casually strolling out of the fog carrying a glowing sword.
Tock will again prepare some more pebble missiles and pass one to Tick.
Okay. And now the Umber Hulk. Vander, you hear a kind of rumbling of dirt as the Umber Hulk, by the sound of it, goes underground and reappears in front of you. If you have held an action or reaction or bonus action or whatever it was you held, now is the time to use it if you wish.
So as the Umber Hulk rises up in front of Vander, he casts Misty Step.
Very nice.
Vander casts Misty Step and disappears from the spot in front of the Umber Hulk, reappearing in the driver's seat of the coach.
Oh my god, he's actually got enough movement to do it as well.
Okay, that's genius.
With a bat, Vander disappears. Not that any of you can see it because of the thick fog, but you do see him suddenly appear in the driver's seat.
All aboard, boys!
The Umber Hulk is obviously now vaguely confused because the thing that it was going to attack is no longer there, and there's a thick fog surrounding it, so he doesn't know where the rest of you are, which takes us back to Augustus.
Augustus charges.
You never know, and so I'm giving him the option.
So everyone else is now on the cart.
On the stagecoach.
Cart, whatever.
Is there anything that stops me throwing a dagger at this guy before moving to the stagecoach?
Running out of daggers.
Run out of daggers and you do it at disadvantage, but technically no.
Beautiful.
Please roll at disadvantage, because you're basically just lobbing a dagger into the fog.
Oh, so you don't know that Vander isn't in there.
I don't care about that. At disadvantage, that is 9.
How your dexterity is pants, isn't it? I was like, surely he'll add like a +6 to that or something. He's a hero.
So hang on, there's +5 for the weapon. I should also have the dexterity, should I? Oh, in which case, 8.
Augustus, you throw a dagger into the fog. I got nothing else for you.
It swishes in a rather satisfying way.
And your movement?
I'm going to get the F on the stagecoach.
Okay, and with Augustus jumping on the stagecoach, Vander, ready for the off?
I am lashing the reins.
Cool, animal handling check, please.
Oh, this would be an interesting time to...
Yeah, no, we're still in initiative, are we?
You can guide him if you want.
Yeah, Tock will guide the Vander and say, Vander, we must leave now.
Agreed.
And Vander rolls a 13. Oh, plus a 3, so he rolls a 16.
With the crack of the reins, you guys are off into the city of the dead. As you hurtle through the eerily silent city of the dead at speed, the towering buildings loom like silent sentinels, their stone facades marked by the ravages of time and decay. The abandoned structures, once grand and majestic, now stand as solemn witnesses to the passage of the ages. You navigate the narrow streets, the wind whistling through the forgotten alleys. The architecture is unmistakably Dwarven, each building adorned with intricate carvings and imposing archways that tell tales of a bygone era. The facades are punctuated by ornate balconies and crumbling statues, some now worn beyond recognition. Despite the abandonment, the craftsmanship of the Dwarven stonemasons is evident in every weathered detail. Can I have a survival check from Bennie,
15 for Bennie on survival.
a d20 from Vander,
Vander gets a 10.
and an investigation check from Tock?
Yeah, Tock gets a 9.
Bennie, please roll a d100.
75.
Vander, you're confident that you're heading in the right direction, but there's a large amount of debris covering the tracks every few yards, each time forcing you to stop the stagecoach to remove the obstacles before proceeding.
Vander is obviously slowing the stagecoach down now in order to get through the various rubble that presents itself in front of us. As we're clearing that, he turns to the group and says,
We're alive, boys, and that's what counts.
As you are removing debris from the tracks, scattered in among the rubbish of the abandoned city, Tock, you see a leaflet which has inscribed on it the copy of a writ. It reads, "By order of the elders, all miners should report to the Northern Prospecting Drift immediately for urgent exploration of potential veins." There is a crudely drawn map of the city with a highlight region to the north. As you study the sheet, you can see the warehouses where you began and the empty street you are currently moving along. By your calculations, the highlighted region is approximately 4 days' travel from where you are.
So Tock will show that to the group. It is possible the mithril ore is in this location on the map.
I've got to say, Tock, I wasn't planning on another 4 days down here.
It would be more than 4 days to an exit, Bennie.
Really? Is that what everyone reckons? 4 days?
I would rather assume that traveling to the source of Tock's discovery would almost certainly take us further in to the cave system rather than further out.
Indeed, Vander, but the exit is blocked. The writ of sealing.
It is also possible that in traveling to that location we may find the source of our troubles and potentially attain the spell that was offered to us.
To summarize our situation, gentlemen, we have to go as deep as we possibly can into the cave, as far from the exit as we can, to the most dangerous part of the cave where we think there's some sort of monster or evil curse that causes living creatures to turn into zombies. Is that the plan as I understand it?
You've left the worst to last, Augustus. You're running low on knives.
Also, we must fight the creature or destroy it.
So we take Papa Ungermas's tale as true.
I believe we can trust the words of Papa Ungermas. My concern lies more in the direction of whether we can survive the encounter that clearly lies before us.
Very well. Well, if the group agrees on that, then whatever seems the most dangerous and least logical option, for example, going deeper into the cave and towards danger, is apparently our only option. Therefore, we must proceed.
There are potential other options, Augustus. There are municipal buildings, army barracks. We may obtain magical items, weapons, to aid us in our quest.
Quite right, Tock. Well, we must loot our way to the deep, dark dungeon, of course.
Then he just mutters, like, 4 days. Who knows what's going to have happened above ground in another 4 days with airship and villagers.
Is something particular concerning you, Bennie?
Well, who knows? Did they just chase us? Did they chase the villagers of Haven as well? Has Magnus escaped? There's just so much stuff we don't know. And then going deeper into the dark.
I quite agree, Bennie. I would welcome the sun on my face, but unless anyone has a better option, it appears our only choice is to go as deep as the cave will go in search of the key that will unlock the door.
Our situation is grim, it's true. But I agree. We must delve deeper in order to free ourselves.
I used to get locked in the cellar when I misbehaved. This sort of reminds me of that. I can't say I like it much.
Well, Bennie, while I, as always, have great sympathy for the past troubles of yourself and the other members of this team, what none of us had in those situations was each other. So perhaps now we can attack our problems in a way that none of us could in the past.
Vander approaches Bennie and takes him quite seriously by the shoulder.
You must remain calm, Bennie. It's important for you particularly that you remain as calm as possible. There's a lot you still don't know about your future.
I know, Vander, but it's easy to say and tricky to do. But you're right. I know you're right.
Vander looks a little concerned, but leaves it there.
Find yourself a comfortable seat on the stagecoach, Bennie. The suspension and interior fittings are absolutely unparalleled.
Vander, can I please have a dexterity saving throw?
Oh dear.
What was the strong shot of oh dear?
It's a 5.
As you're talking to Bennie, trying to calm him down, there is a sudden electrical charge which bursts out from Bennie into your hand, delivering 3 lightning damage to you. Bennie, your head swims as the lightning bursts out of you, and for a moment you black out, coming to a few seconds later.
Oh God.
Bennie, you appear to have suffered a malfunction.
What? the shit was that?
There was electrical discharge.
From what? From where?
Don't mind me, gentlemen.
Vander says as he sits up, still lightly smoking.
We were talking, and then I was sitting down. I don't know.
Precisely what I was afraid would happen,
says Vander irritably as he scrambles awkwardly to his feet, looking very unsteady.
What do you mean precisely what you were afraid would happen? Like, only solid food? I'm going to need a little bit more.
Well, Bennie, unfortunately you have not received any training, and therefore your powers as a tyro, I suspect, are becoming overwhelming.
What happened, Vander?
You struck me with lightning!
Oh.
Yes.
Oh. Are you alright?
I'll live.
Oh, I'm sorry, obviously.
Quite all right. But you must remain, at all costs, as calm as possible.
Nothing to keep you calm, like someone saying, remain calm at all costs, is there?
Remain calm or everybody dies.
Made to see the squalid conditions, the mind-numbing darkness, and the possibility of imminent death as a soothing sense of there being hope somewhere in the darkness.
I am gonna have a sit down in carriage and maybe try and get a bit of sleep.
A fine idea.
Augustus once again mentions the many merits of the carriage.
As Bennie retires to the stagecoach to get some rest, Vander, suddenly a distant sound catches your attention. A low guttural moan that seems to seep from the very stones around you. It isn't long before the others hear it too. There is shifting as if movement is happening around you.
I want to have a look at the terrain in front of us to assess the possibility of outrunning the problem. I suspect the debris is going to make that difficult.
Give me a Arcana check, please.
That is a 13.
The moan sounded like it was coming from something of undead nature. You know that undead move relatively slowly in your experience. Limited experience of the undead. So whatever it is that is moaning, you should probably be able to outrun.
Okay, everybody. Stay calm, Bennie. The undead have arrived, but I'm certain we can outrun them.
I'm trying to think of one of the least calming words that human being can utter. The undead have arrived.
A minor blip.
They sounded Dwarven to me.
An excellent observation. Help me with this rubble.
Can Augustus because Augustus can sense evil and undead and things. Can Augustus sense anything that can help us here?
Ooh, yeah.
If there's rubble to get out of the way, Tock, we'll go and do that whilst he's, rather than waiting for him to, yeah.
Tock, give me a strength check, please. And you can do it at advantage if Tick is helping.
Yes.
Athletics.
But Tock is going to guide Tick as how to move the rubble faster.
Tick is really the powerhouse of this team, isn't he?
I also feel like I've been muscled out.
I'm the least argumentative.
Exactly. Gets on with everyone.
He's got numbers and roles and things, but without any of the obvious personality flaws of the rest of us.
23 for strength today.
At some speed and with some ease, Tick and Tock begin moving the debris off of the track. Augustus, after you are alerted by Vander to potential imminent danger, a strange smell begins to fill your nostrils as if something evil and undead is close by. As you open your senses to it, you can sense 16 undead creatures within 60 feet of you.
Gentlemen, everyone back on the magnificent stagecoach. We need to go.
Can you tell what direction they're coming from?
They are coming from the south.
Let's go north.
Vander, animal handling check.
Off we go then, nice and calmly. Nothing worrying us at all. Just a stroll into the dark,
Says Vander as he cracks the reins and undoubtedly rolls a superb 20.
You said superb before you saw the result, didn't you?
That's because I've got so many divine powers.
You crack the reins as behind you a flood, a veritable sea of undead creatures begin swarming out from every collapsed building.
As Vander looks panically behind him, he says,
Augustus, if you wouldn't mind just lowering those fine curtains. Nothing to see out here.
Augustus notices how fine the curtains are. The embroidery is beyond compare.
Augustus, give me a perception check, please, while you're looking at the embroidery on the stagecoach curtains.
You're about to find out just how fine they are.
Is this like the nature check where you discover that the steamer hadn't been quite as nicely made as we first thought?
Arcana.
You've been sold it does.
8. Have I percepted anything?
As you're kind of making sure that the curtains are closed, trying to keep Bennie calm as a tidal wave of undead zombie dwarves are chasing the cart while Vander rapidly cracks the reins, your eye line catches between the two curtains, and out in the debris to the east of the coach, you see Lenny the dog sniffing around. He looks back at you and then disappears behind a boulder.
Oh, God.
So I'm just checking my character sheet, and I've got a spell called Augustus Doesn't Give a Fuck About Dogs.
That's level 4, I think, mate.
And yet he was bored with it.
I cast that, shrug, and shut the curtains.
Vander, you begin guiding the cart along the tracks at high speed. Behind you, the swarm of zombie dwarves is not able to gain on you, but you can still see it. So massive is the number. You reach a pivot point where the tracks split in 2 directions, left or right.
I've not got time to get the candles, so I'm just going to go right. I'm also going to say back at Tock, who's presumably riding at the back of the coach,
Tock, do you have any explosives ready? I ask out of idle curiosity, not because there's any imminent need to use anything of that nature.
Bennie still has them though, right?
that's a seriously awkward conversation.
Bennie, I was wondering if I could trouble you for those explosives, just for safekeeping.
Yeah, just a minute, Vander. Augustus, you just made a weird face. Why did you make a weird face?
I'm frightfully sorry, Bennie. Sometimes I'm just overwhelmed by how well made this cart and its fittings are.
You opened curtains, made a weird face, and shut the curtain.
It's a fine cart. Explosives, please.
Tock is going to reach down through the hole that the flintlock made, and you'll hear a voice that is saying, "The explosives, Bennie. Time is of the essence."
This isn't finished, Augustus. And I reach into my bag and grab the explosives to hand them to Tock.
I mean, hang on. Are you reading Lenny in my eyes?
I'm not reading Lenny. You just did something weird. You did something weird, and I want to know what.
I'll tell you what, let's settle this once and for all. Augustus, give me a deception check, and Bennie, give me an insight check, please.
But also, Tock is going to get those explosives to Vander as quickly as possible.
That's fine. We'll get to that. We're going to slow time down a minute just to settle this inter-party dispute.
Oh. I got a 9 for insight.
11.
Bennie, despite noticing a rather odd look on Augustus's face, his denial of seeing anything strange is enough for you, and you hand the explosives to Tock, who quickly hands them to Vander.
Vander passes them immediately back.
Please make the largest bomb possible with these. Thank you, Tock.
Tock will take one of his fuses, just put it straight in the little hole thing there. Say to Vander, like, "The bomb has been prepared, Vander."
Good.
I say, do you need a hand with that, Tock? The old mage hand worked pretty well last time.
Indeed, that would be more efficient.
Can I have a Tinker's Tools check from Tock, a D100 from Vander, and Bennie will come to you in a second.
19.
So Tock rolled a natural 1, which gives him a grand total of 8 with the Tinker's Tools. Maybe Tick should have done this one.
Bennie, you have been alerted to the fact that the team needs explosives, and despite Vander's best efforts, there is something chasing you. You still don't know exactly what it is because no one is talking about it, and you are inside trying to get some rest. But you have offered to help.
Is the bomb set?
The bomb is set.
Okay.
Tock, I'm concerned about the architecture back there. It looks unsafe. Maybe let's use the bomb to make sure that there's no danger left behind us for any other travellers.
Give me a deception check.
Hang on, was the natural 1 for building the bomb?
Yeah.
And Bennie, give me a insight check, please.
That is an 18 for deception.
5.
Sold it.
Despite being mildly concerned that there is something chasing you, Vander's calming words reassure you.
Can Augustus say, "Excuse me, Bennie," and he climbs out through the door and up onto the roof and then sits himself next to Vander, even though everything else is going on. Vander, I feel rather bad. I lied to Bennie. I feel guilty.
Not a perfect moment, Augustus. If you look behind us and try not to scream, you will see that we are being chased by
And Vander leans in.
a horde of zombies.
Well, that's all very well, Vander, but I think I saw Lenny the dog out among the broken buildings. Have you any idea how that could be possible?
You mean the buildings behind us which are now covered in zombies?
Yes, says Augustus, waving an aristocratic hand.
I see. Well, that is unfortunate for young Lenny. I'm afraid he may well be a zombie dog right now. I am also concerned about the bomb we are carrying in our stagecoach.
Very well, Vander. I must admit I have a dislike of evil, and Augustus hauls himself up and gets up on top of the carriage, draws his sword, and shouts, "Light it up, Bennie."
Vander grabs Augustus's leg as he does so.
At all costs, keep Bennie on.
Well, perhaps he can channel some of his nervous energy into lighting up my fucking sword.
Now he's a paladin.
As he turns back to the reins.
At this point, Benny, you've obviously, with Augustus's help, it has become clear that there is something happening. Augustus is now asking you to light up his sword and is stood atop the stagecoach.
Just for visibility, you understand.
Blow them all to hell, Tock, before Bennie sees.
Vander, you refer to the undead pursuing the stagecoach, correct?
You misspoke, Tock. Just throw the damn explosive.
Can I have an athletics check, please, Tock?
So that is a 22.
Augustus and Vander, you see Tock fastball the explosive that he's created back into the sea of undead. It bounces once, bounces twice as the fuse reaches zero, and it hits the ground, and there is a small puff of smoke, and nothing happens.
Oh my god.
Vander, as you look forward, the rail tracks that you were on begin to twist, and they come to a dead stop where they are broken.
Good.
I take this moment to haul myself out of the carriage and up onto the roof and shout, "Can everyone stop mothering me? I can cope with things trying to kill me. I know where I stand with things trying to kill me. Can we just, stop all this nonsense? What's going on?"
Bennie, there is no time. Vander, can you launch a firebolt at the explosives?
How many things can you cope with trying to kill you at once? I ask out of idle curiosity.
I don't know. What's the most that's ever tried to kill me in one go? 6 or 7?
Okay.
Perhaps an order of magnitude higher than that-ish, give or take.
In our favor, it's difficult to count.
Benny, you turn around after this brief conversation to see a literal army of undead creatures. We're talking hundreds of them are pouring towards you as the cart begins to slow.
Bennie, I just saw Lenny among the buildings, and he winked at me a few days ago.
What?
Not now. Not now.
In other news, the tracks we're on are about to end.
Vander, as the cart begins to slow, you see to the left a impressive looking building that is still relatively upstanding with metal doors, one which is slightly ajar. As you read the sign at the top, it says the Dark Bank.
Oh, amazing. Boys, we're going to the bank.
Which bank? I do not observe a river.
The Dark Bank, that building there, that one, right there.
Vander is pointing with both hands.
Okay, Tock will get down and help Vander along to get to the dark bank.
As Augustus decarts, he jumps off the front and attempts to slash the ropes binding the horses to the carriage.
Nice.
Augustus, give me an athletics check, please.
Fuck me.
You slash, but
I cut off my remaining testicle. That is a natural 1 for 4.
The rest of you in the panic see Augustus heroically leaping off of the stagecoach, rapier drawn. He slashes down, cutting the ropes that keep the horses to the stagecoach before completely misjudging it and landing face first into the ground. Please take 1 bludgeoning damage.
Augustus, caution, there is no river.
Forget the river, Tock.
And the rest of you, as you are making your way into the Dark Bank, Bennie is stood atop the stagecoach, staring back at the zombie horde, kind of mouth slightly open. There is a crackle of energy and a ball of fire bursts out of his chest and flies directly into the oncoming horde, exploding and wiping out about 24 in one go. Bennie, you fall to one knee on top of the stagecoach, but you are still conscious.
Point of order. I had to go on the spreadsheet.
I mean, they have to, don't they?
Question ever.
Yeah.
We're all going on the spreadsheet if we don't get out of this. We're all going on the spreadsheet.
Yeah.
We're all going under Benny's name, I think.
The kill list sees all.
If everyone's just gone in the bank, Augustus is going to pick himself up, like stand up on the wheel or something enough to get onto the top where Benny's kind of kneeling there, and just drag him off towards the door.
Sounds like quite a good plan to me.
With Tock helping Vander in through the big double doors, reinforced with metal, as Augustus does the same for Bennie. The four of you decamp into the dark bank. As you make your way into the dark bank, the horses bolt off in a northerly direction.
Tock and Tick will both shut the doors behind us, bolt them if possible, and also inspect the doors for structural integrity to see if they'll hold.
Give me an investigation check, please. Tock and Tick.
Okay, that is a 21.
Tock and Tick, you are able to reinforce the doors, lock them tight, and you put ballast in the way to stop anything kind of breaking through.
As that happens, Vander removes his flintlock from his cloak.
Everyone else, I suggest we search this place for undead. We don't want to find we have unwanted guests. Except for you, Bennie. Calming breaths.
No, I'm all right. It was a bit of a surprise.
Motes of fire often surprising.
I meant the horde of zombies. That was, yeah. The firebolt was a surprise as well. But no, I'm okay. I've got it together. I'll be all right.
Then get your bow and let's get to searching.
Yep.
Whilst they're busy chatting, Tock's going to get straight to checking for other entrances to the building.
I'm going to use your investigation check that you just did as part of your security thing, and in a second I'm going to ask Vander to give me an investigation check at advantage because Augustus and Bennie will be helping. Tock and Tick quickly, while the others are talking, begin to move around the lobby of the Dark Bank. There is a huge circular door to the back, which is currently shut. It has a wheel on it, which you recognize as a vault. There are no other windows in it, and the only entrance you can find is the one that you have just barricaded. There is a roof on top of this building. As far as safety goes in the City of the Dead, this is about the most safe structure you have seen so far. Investigation check, please, Vander.
24.
There's a chair in the room.
This bank is not as well constructed as I initially supposed.
Vander, as you look around, a lot of the interior of the Dark Bank is covered with kind of strange vines and fungus. This has obviously been thousands of years, since this has been used. You spy a crack in behind this vegetation and fungus on the wall. There appears to be a patch of rough painting with swirls of purple behind the vegetation.
I turn to the group.
I imagine we have limited time before our guests find their way in here. It does strike me, though, that having had dealings with the Dark Bank in the past, there's usually another way out.
And with that, he starts pulling the vines back to see what's behind them.
Is now the time to ask what the Dark Bank is? I've never heard of it.
Fine financial institution given over to servicing those among us who require discretion.
Query, what is finance?
A good question for another day. Thanks for playing, Tock.
As you respond to Tock, there is a sudden banging at the door, which has been barricaded as the army of the dead have obviously reached you. Vander, as you tear the vegetation away from the wall, you're met with a crude mural showing a caricatured elven character with long floppy ears and a very prominent jaw. This drawing shows the elf leading an army of skeletons and zombies towards a group of stoic-looking dwarves. There is some graffitied dwarvish scrawled across it, which reads Alfra en Vulner, which translates as never trust the underdrow.
I look at the mural and say to myself,
how I wish you had been a door.
And then I relay the dwarvish to the rest of the group.
We'll check if it's locked. Can we open it?
The vault does appear to be locked.
I believe this road trip has become a bank heist. We must find a way into this safe, as I suspect there may be at least something of use, or even better, a way out.
Well, let me take a look at it. It's a little beyond me usual by way of lockpicking, but I might have picked up some tips that could help, and I'd like to have a look to see what I can see as regards the mechanism.
We're in your hands, Bennie.
Bennie, can I please have a dexterity check with your proficiency added?
Tock will, of course, provide guidance. Tock give Bennie some acid, which I know is a thing you can use in lockpicking to help make everything a bit looser. You like chuck tons of acid in there, it dissolves a little bit of the mechanisms to help you work at it.
And 27.
Whoa.
Bennie, you've never actually opened a door of this complexity, especially as it's dwarven make. That's not to say that you don't trust yourself to actually get it open, but it's going to take you some time and some quiet by the door to listen as you turn the wheel to make sure that it unlocks the mechanism. It's going to take you 3 hours of concentrated work.
I reckon I can do it, but it ain't going to be quick.
Understood. Tock, what is your assessment of the door? Will it hold?
As long as the undead do not bring siege engines, we should be safe.
I think if the undead bring siege engines, it's time just to fucking lie down, isn't it?
I'm gonna need some peace and quiet, then, please.
Of course.
Vander, only too happy to create a situation of peace and quiet.
What's the ceiling like in here?
The ceiling is relatively high, unusual for dwarven architecture, and as part of your incredible investigation check, it looks solid. You suspect it's probably been reinforced with metal girders, as well as the standard stone masonry of the dwarven people.
We could, with time, break it down, but it would be the same thing as trying to break down a stone wall that's, 12 feet in the air.
That is correct.
Cool. Let's wait for the door.
Vander takes out the book that he got originally when Bellerophon was still with us and examines that in context to the mural to see if we can draw any connections in the story that's forming.
I'm going to say that your intelligence is high enough that you can connect the figure mentioned within the diary, within the journal that you found, with the mural you have seen on the wall. To your mind, they are very obviously the same person, and potentially the cause of all of the trouble and the army of the dead.
Well, can Augustus just once again use his divine sense just to get a feel for, it feels kind of obvious, but, what's the scene outside like?
Augustus, you open yourself up. The stench is overpowering and unbearable. The undead, these evil creatures are everywhere. And as you open yourself up, you can estimate that there are 85 to 90 creatures directly outside the door. But obviously your range only goes so far.
Augustus, you look deep in thought. I was wondering if you might have a notion of how many undead accost us.
Quite a few.
So the Winchester then.
Tock will come and try and help Vander with obviously reading a book about elves from what he knows, and we'll say, if there is any elvish in the book, Vander, I will translate for you.
Very kind, Tock.
And Vander passes him the book and moves in the direction of Augustus.
Augustus, since we have a moment to speak, I was saddened to hear of your sister. I wasn't aware of your plight. I understand we already have a bargain in place of sorts, and that promises made in the face of almost certain death are rather cheap. But if it assists you, I will assist you in finding your sister again. I won't deny having a soft spot in my own heart for someone I care about a lot.
Thank you, Vander. A little kindness in these darkest of corners is very much appreciated. And fear not for my sister. Aurora is a force of nature, if ever there was one. And indeed, it's crossed my mind more than once that my coming here might only result in her having to rescue me. That was always the way of it as children. So while we've not heard from her, I am far from giving her up as lost or beaten or dead.
Without looking up, Tock, whilst reading the book, is just going to say, I met an elf called Aurora in Lanosil.
An elf, Tock, called Aurora?
Indeed.
Is that definitely an elf?
A humanoid without facial hair, with fine features.
Could be little else.
Possibly a human, Tock.
She spoke in Elvish. She enjoyed riddles. I did not understand them all.
Well, Tock, any of those things could certainly apply to Aurora. When did this meeting take place?
Approximately 2 years previously. I can be more specific if you wish.
Tock, Aurora left our shores a little over 3 years ago, so she and you may have crossed paths 2 years ago. It's possible. What else can you tell me of this woman or this elf that you met?
Tock will take this time to reiterate the poem that he read during the character introduction section. And she was a friend of Tick's. They knew each other. They talked often. My interactions were brief.
And have you yet established a way to commune with Tick, to establish information that he knows? For example, information about how he knew this Aurora, where she had come from, and potentially where she went?
I regret communication has not been forthcoming. I will investigate. Investigations will require time and a workshop and test subjects.
Very well, Tock. If we're to die in this bank, then all this matters little. If we should escape, then I hope you will be able to establish this connection with the Tick and find a little more information.
We are currently in the Moonshadow Mountains. To the northeast is Roanoke, the province of Denothlia. Far to the east of Roanoke is the plains of Asmodeus. North of the plains of Asmodeus is the forest of Lanosil and the settlement of Landaloran. This is the location that I met the elf Aurora.
Very well, Tock. I cannot imagine what Aurora would have been doing there, but her disappearance and the length of time that has passed defies any explanation I can provide, so I must be open to the possibility that she could be anywhere.
And I call from the door. Is this what we're calling peace and quiet, is it?
Apologies, Bennie. I'm so very sorry to hear of your plight, Augustus.
And Vander reaches in for a hug. As he closes his awful arms around Augustus, he leans into his ear and says,
Bennie's a fucking time bomb. Keep him calm.
And with Bennie working on the locked vault door while the army of the dead gather outside the dark bank, we'll end it there.
You've been listening to Dice Company's Small Embers, starring Dave Windust as Bennie Quez, Alex Morrison as Augustus Zeno, Charlie Blackadder as Vander Finnick, and Harry King as Tock, with Tom Patrick as your Dungeon Master.
The humans of Dice Company would like to thank the following sweethearts for their support. Marshall 001, Marky B, Darcy Thompson, Jenny the War Camel, Stephen Sakura, Nori Gosler, Mickey Arnold, Happy Daddy Scotty, Tika, S.J. Phionics, Richard Ungamus, Rabbi Camel, Team Vander, Paris Pakar, Path Pursuit, Julia Zeno, Shovels, Mama Strange, Queenie, Liz Beckett, Axel Runholm, and Chris from North London.
In fact, I think I know what my wish is going to be. I want fucking coaching horses back out of here.
Please use your wish to bring back the stagecoach and horses.
Oh no.
It would be the biggest waste of a high-level spell I've ever seen, and I love it.
If Augustus gets the chance to use the wish, that is what's happening.
Tock and Tick will wrestle him to the ground so someone else can use the wish.
let's say, stop, don't be ridiculous. A finer stagecoach.
Thanks for listening. Please consider supporting Dice Company on Patreon, where for the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to a whole other show, Extra Roll, as well as an ad-free listening experience. The Dice Company Discord server, along with our socials, can be found on our Linktree in the show notes. If you enjoyed this chapter, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to recommend us to your friends. If you didn't like it, recommend us to your enemies. And we'll see you next time on Dice Company.